Good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday, April 12th, 2023. It is 9:17 in the morning. Okay, this is part 34, Prologue, Theodore Rex. The sun was setting, and its rays gilded the misty transportations of peach orchards and tobacco fields. An older farmer, here on the onrush of the train, climbed off his harrow and stood to attention, his red shirt incandescent in the horizontal light. Children ran to cluster around him. Their spindly shadows, leaping east, briefly stroked the wheels of Roosevelt's car. To eyes that had so recently gazed upon Oral Derricks and steel bridges and Harrisburg's jumbling housing, the little group looked quaintly anachronistic and vignette of the past century. Though such families still accounted for 60% of the American population, their numbers were dwindling as combination crept across the countryside, leveling hedgerows and quintupling the size of farms. These were fields where already in fief to the Tobacco Trust, departments of agriculture in state after state boasted the effects of the new scientific management. Kansas wheat production had increased to such an extent that some farmers there were calling themselves manufacturers. Review of reviews reported enormous sales of sophisticated agricultural machinery across the nation. An ultra new combined header and thresher was being tested in California. 8 horses were needed to haul it. It advanced across a field of standing grain, miraculously leaving nothing behind but a row of stuffed sacks. Technological progress for big farmers, however, did not mean that life was any better for small. In the Midwest, near 3/4 of rural families lived below subsistence level. In the South, looming ever closer as Roosevelt rode, country people sought towns jobs through the winter just to survive on fatback and hoe cake. Roosevelt could see little relief for the rural unemployed in the immediate future. A place like York, Pennsylvania, flashing by redly at the 5:45, was a typical country town grown too big. There were more than 1,000 such cities across the nation, for its new poor, York offered only more poverty. A laborer might trade his hoe for a hammer for a few extra dollars a week, but the increment was meaningless. Given urban costs, his children would still run barefoot through November, and in midwinter their breath would be ice on their bed sheets. Even more wretched than these migrants were the immigrants from unsalubrious parts of Europe further crowding American cities. Since January, nearly 500,000 had poured in. With their greasy kerchiefs and swollen cheekbones, they seemed content to live in any slum and do any work for pigs' wages. Not surprisingly, the native-born Americans, though supplanted, felt rage and ethnic contempt. Roosevelt's journalist friend William Allen White spoke for many in his syndicated diatribes against hunkies and Italians, the very scum of European civilization. Roosevelt was not immune to such sentiments himself. His youthful views on the inferiority of various ethnic stocks had been republished with rather embarrassing frequency. Yet he believed in America's ability to integrate all comers. One of his favorite stories was that of Otto Raphael, the young Russian Jew he had plucked from the Lower East Side of Manhattan and made a policeman. Roosevelt was the first president ever to be born in a large city. He welcomed the clash of alien cultures as long as it did not degenerate into mass collision. As such, he saw no paradox in being an opponent of the xenophobic American Protective Association and strong supporter of the Immigration Restriction League, but he felt that America's first responsibility was to its literate native-born working poor. Several thousand such citizens stood watching his train pass through the industrial outskirts of York, half a mile of humanity silhouetted against the sunset, dinner pails in hand. They were gone. Night closed in. For the next half hour, Roosevelt sat with his elbow on the window ledge, staring through his own reflection at the speeding darkness. Okay, so that is all for part 34 prologue, Theodore Rex. Thank you for watching.